Okay, welcome. We're just going to go through, have a look how to do this practice exam so that you can make sure your technology is right to do the final exam over the next couple of weeks. Now, importantly for what we're doing today, the practice exam, you're going to find it in your standard Google Classroom. There's a separate Google Classroom that you should have access to. That's where the actual exam will be. Okay, just simply, I didn't want to put the practice exam in here just in case you make a mistake and do the practice exam on the day instead of the proper exam. So for the moment, we're going to open up this our normal Google Classroom. Look, here's the post. I've only just put it up this morning there, so it's still at the top. But if you can't find it, come up here to classwork, and you can see that's the only thing we've got in there. Okay, rightio, so having a look at this, let's read through the instructions. Obviously you can read this yourself, but sometimes it can help to have somebody read it through. Okay, so it's a practice exam. The following task is not for marking, it is just to check that you can access the technology to do the final exams on Google Forms. Because it's not for marking, you can put any answers down. Okay, it doesn't matter, it's not going to be marked. Please do this before the end of Thursday so we have time to fix any problems. So, if you've got any technology problems and it doesn't work, that means we've got Friday and over the weekend to sort anything out. No, but preferably sort it out before then, so preferably do it sort of early in the week. If you've got any problems, email us. We can start working out what's going to work best for you. Okay, as I said, don't worry about your answers. Just write down anything and make sure you can upload it. Right, for this practice exam, we're not marking it. It's really just about you being able to actually access the technology. This last dot point, when you actually open up your Google Classroom, that will have disappeared because that's just a little notice I put up just in case anybody came across this before I'd done the video that I'm recording right now. Okay, what to do? Here's what you need to do. So in a moment, as we scroll down, there's going to be two links down the bottom and we need to open both of these files. The first one is the actual practice examination and the other one is a practice answer sheet here. Okay, and as I said, you can see there, we'll come down and open those up in a sec. Okay, so the multiple choice questions need to be answered on the Google Forms answer sheet. Again, we'll open that in a moment. When you look at section 2, you're working out solutions for the extended response questions in section 2 need to be done either in your mathematics workbook or on loose paper. I'd suggest just using loose paper. It's just a little bit easier to photograph it and not get a blurry answer there. You can use your maths workbook, but again, just because of the sort of the fold in the middle, it's harder to get a nice clear photo. Okay, once you've answered all the questions and checked your solutions and working out, you need to take photos of your solutions and working out and upload these photos to the same Google form. And that's what we're going to be doing in this video, showing you how to do that. So when you've answered all the multiple choice questions and uploaded your photos from section 2, you can submit the Google form for marking. And if you've got any questions, then see myself or Miss Putland. Okay, so we're going to open both of these files here. The first one here is going to be our answer sheet. Let's just open up the other one as well. Now, it's a bit funny, when it does, it sort of covers up that same tab. So, going back to the answer form there, just start by filling in your name. And obviously put your real name, because if you put a fake name, that's who's going to get the marks. Okay, make sure you put your email. Now, look, it is up here, but just make sure that you've got the correct email. Now, notice here, like never use this email address for me. Look, it's a bizarre thing, but whenever we use Google products, the tag at the end of our email address has to be the same as yours. But if you ever try to email me on this, it won't actually work. Okay, so that's the one that's mentioned up here. So I better get rid of that, because this is actually the email that anybody can get back to me on. So a bit of needless confusion there. Okay, so we've got a section here which is for our multiple choice answers. So we come back to the exam paper. Now the actual exam paper will be set up so you can't print it, and the reason for that is to try and make this as sort of equitable as possible, because some people have got printers at home, but I don't. I haven't got one here, and it's just not possible for us to print out the exams and sort of give it out, not given the time period for this exam. So you'll only be able to read it off the screen, and so you have to keep flicking between tabs for the multiple choice questions. And in a moment you'll see we just need to write the other section by on paper. Okay, so we scroll down to we see, oops, I just jumped out of that, that's a bit of a pain in the neck. Okay, so we scroll down until we find the multiple choice questions, and look, there's 5 questions there. I don't really care what answers there are, so I'm just going to choose some at random there. There we go, wonder how I went. Okay, so I've answered the multiple choice questions there. Okay, so all good, that was quick. Rightio, I'll then come down to section 2 of the exam. And again, this is, there'll be a real one with a real paper. These are just sort of joke questions here. And what you're going to need to do is either on a bit of scrap paper or on your maths workbook, you're going to answer these questions here. Now remember, all you need to do is, you don't need to write out the whole question there. You just write out, basically what you would normally have written out in this section here. So in a moment I'll show you the answers that I've put here because I've already done this on a bit of paper. But, okay, well, let's open that up now. Let's test out my skills. Wrong desktop, don't mind me. Let's just drag that up. Is that going to work? It has. So, and then, of course, it opened up down on my second screen. Let's get that up there. Doesn't want to cooperate. We'll get it there in a minute. Come on, you can do it, computer. No, it does not want to cooperate. Okay, let's just open up one of these ones. Firstly, I'm going to show you one that's no good. Okay, here's one oh man, this is really testing out my patience, isn't it? Just I'm running a second screen here, and there we go. Okay, we got there in the end. So here's a bad photograph here, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But firstly, once you actually go to photograph your work, look, I've deliberately tried to make this a bit bad. I've taken the shot at an angle instead of directly above, and you can see how one end's a bit blurry, this bit's in focus. I also sort of did it in a bit of a dark spot, but the flash on my camera actually turned on, so it hasn't ended up too bad. You can see how a marker could actually, could quite easily read what I've written there. You notice I've written in fairly big font. I've set it out neatly down there, so that would be fairly easy to mark. Let's see if it'll go on to the next one. So here's a much better shot of the same one. You notice I've put it in front of the computer screen, so I've got a bit of the glow off the screen, giving a nice even light. I've taken a photograph from directly above it there, so I can see straight down on the page. You notice all that I've put there is the answer for 6A. Let's have a look back at that question there. Okay, so for 6A, there was the question. You notice I haven't rewritten the question. All I've done is I've written the answer because it was a 1-mark question. So don't waste your time rewriting out the question there. Okay, similarly for the other questions, so there's 6B. All I've done is because again it's only worth 1 mark, so I've just put the answer down. I don't think there are any 2-mark questions in this exam, in this practice exam. Okay, so all good. As you can see, where are we here? I've got my two actual ones that I want. So I put my name and the page number and how many pages I've got all together at the top. Again, that'll just make it a bit easier if things get out of order. You notice I've also renamed this file, so it says Mr. Howard Practice Exam, page 1 of 2. So, it's a good idea putting your name and the page number on there. Okay, so all good. So I've actually taken these photos with just my ordinary camera. I've downloaded them onto my computer first. Okay, so again, I don't know if that was showing up here. So I've actually created a folder on my desktop and I downloaded it onto there first. And that's one of the things you want to practice. So after you've done your section 2 answers, and look, you can just do a smiley face if you like. So there's my page 2 of 2. Again, just did a bit of a smiley face. You can see how red pen, it doesn't work as well. And here I took the photo a bit quickly and so it became a bit blurrier. Okay, look, it's not a big deal. Okay, once the exam finishes, you've got 10 minutes to do all this, and that's plenty of time. Make sure you practice though, so it all works well. Okay, so where were we up to? Where we were up to is So we've answered our questions. So now we go back to this same form that we put our multiple choice answer sheets on. And this is where we upload our section 2 stuff. Okay, so those photos I just showed you, which I've downloaded onto the desktop of my computer, I'm now going to add these here. Okay, so I'll click Add File. This section will allow up to 10 files to be added, so up to 10 photos. Okay, so I'm going to select it from my device. Look, if I wanted to, I could go, because I've still got my phone connected, look, I could go into here and I could scroll down, I could find those photos there. Okay, so I think it was these two here, but look, it's just easier to go and get them off my desktop. So let's do that. I come down to, where is it, Year 11 practice exam. I don't want the blurry one, that was just an example to show you what not to do. I'll click open. Okay, that's it, they're the only 2 files I want. You can see by giving them nice file names, it's just a bit easier. I click upload, give it a moment. And again, this is where you've got to check that your technology is working at home and make sure that it's going to be okay. La-di-da-di-da. There we go. Okay, so you can see I've got the files there. Now, there's just a bizarre thing about these Google assignments. You can have actually up to 10 files, if for some, and that should be plenty. Okay, but if for whatever reason you've gone through more pages, there's another section here where you can just add more files there. Okay, and if needs be, you can actually just on your computer, you can actually combine them into one document. Okay, what else to add here? Okay, in terms of the other thing, if you want to scan it instead of taking a photograph, that's fine. It should. I'm not sure if the practice one will allow PDFs, but the main one, you can upload PDFs instead of other stuff. Again, check all of that out. Make sure that you can do it. And so once you've got your name there, your address, you've answered the multiple choice, and you've uploaded your files there, you're finished. So you just come down here to submit. You click that, give it a moment. That's probably going to tell us that we're submitted there. Okay, there we go. So that's all good. Now look, for this particular one, because it's a practice one, if you want to try again, have another go. Okay, there's no problems or issues there. Okay, so let's talk about the actual exam itself. Now, just a reminder, the actual exam itself will be in a separate Google Classroom here. So it's going to be on here, not our normal Google Classroom. So on the day, I'll make sure that there's a thing on the normal Google Classroom to make sure you go to this one here. So you're going to go through it, like we're still sorting out how we're adjusting the test. So compared to the one that we already had ready for you, so that was going to be a 2-hour exam. So what we're doing there is we're just removing some of the questions to take out some of the the time pressures that you'll have on you. And we're still in that process, so I can't give you an exact details at the moment of what you'll be looking at there. So Mrs. Putland and I'll sort that out and get that out to you shortly. Apart from that, once we've sorted out more details, we'll get that to you. But apart from that, just make sure all your technology is working, and if you've had any problems with any of that, either accessing the Google Classroom, uploading the photos in particular, then email us and we'll sort out what we can do. Obviously anybody who's had internet problems might not even be able to see this video, and that's what Mr. Hamer and some other folk are chasing up at the moment. Okay, I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope this video has helped.